Hello, war criminals! So, a farm and developer note, an actual developer note, almost unheard of. So you might be wondering, why did it take you so long to make this developer note, and why have you took so long to do anything, Reedeht? I mean, like, it's like you took months. So we're moving on to the era system, which means you're going to have to make some changes to your nation to help you actually transition, well, first of all, peacefully, second of all, calmly, without wanting to blow your balls up. First of all, let's go over some basic things that will happen. First of all, you'll notice that a large amount of your processors will no longer be visible or interactable. You won't be able to demolish them, you won't be able to do anything with them. Which means if you have processors that are not within the list of resources that should be put there, oh my god, it's a cool list, we're back to cool editing, am I right? So, if it's inside that list, it'll be completely fine. If it isn't, you won't be able to see it until you get to that era. I will give you an exhaustive list on when everything unlocks, but... anyway, so moving on from that idea. So, when your resources are not on that list, you will have to, well, just let them run. They will still continue to buy from the market, but if you want the most control of your nation, I would recommend you demolish processors that are not on that list. Because they will still be active, they'll still be producing stuff, you won't be able to sell, see or interact with them at all. So after the transition period, you won't be able to interact with these processors, which means they could be dead weight. So if you don't need something, I would get rid of it. If you need meals, obviously, for say you have villas or mansions, keep those up. And preferably derivatives, just to keep the production costs down, but we can't actually tell you how much they're costing. So it's a slippery slope. Just be aware that unless you're inside the list that was shown earlier, you genuinely have no control. Which is why we're offering you very forward notice of that lack of control. You'll also be unable to see or interact with a lot of your improvements. People will still be using them, and they'll still be costing upkeep as they currently do, but you can't demolish them or see them. So any improvement that you believe that you do not want to have, I would get rid of ahead of time. This also goes for anything that is not a shack. You're actually stuck with shacks to start with. The system is balanced for new players, not old players. So as we transition, we're offering a 2x tech speed. So all the system is balanced for 7 days on the first tribal era. This brings it down to, well, this exact amount, because it's not exactly 7 days, but give or take. So that's the amount of hours it will take you on a 2x boost. So as long as you have that, you'll be fine. We're also doing a full tech refund that you could use for expansion. So to start with, we are removing all actual foreign policies, but you can unlock them later. They're down the tech tree. But for the starting point, you'll be on a system called no buff. So there'll be no expansionist, no corruption, and no negotiator. These aren't entirely out the game, but they'll take you quite a while to get to, even with 2x tech speed. So, for all intents and purposes, you're essentially stuck with none of the benefits. So going into that, I would recommend, as an older player, you develop a good foreign legion, because that's the most effective strategy. Currently, we're at about a 50-50 split. If I could be able to find the data, I'll put the data on where people sit, on how they expand. Some people are negotiators, some people are military, because depending on how much they're willing to tolerate for risk. But I would recommend that everyone goes off of anything to do with negotiation to start with. This does mean that if you're a pacifist, you should probably build barracks. This also means that you are very likely to need bullet production. Bullets are quite early on the tech tree though, so don't worry. So, when we're going along to the system, I'm not giving an exact date because that's unrealistic. But I have, in my little notes up here, I have the actual milestones. I'm just going to read those directly to you right now. International Market 2.0, that has been pushed as this note's been done. That's the first milestone. Auto-resolve returns, that'll be on construct or improvements. Info starts to hide resources. So when you do info, it'll say exotic material instead of resource. The new lab, which will go from 3 research slots to 1 research slot, aligned with a community vote. Improvements will actually have an info tab. And then the last thing that will be done that isn't with the rest of the pushing is that you'll not be able to demolish or construct, but you'll still be able to see processors. That might or might not happen on the same day as the era is entirely being pushed though. So be aware that maybe the last warning will be a patch note saying that improvements now have info. This is also your cue to not ask me questions about it. This dev note should cover most of the things you need, so don't harass anyone. Legacy policies. So, currently, we have a lot of government systems being locked behind tech. To start with, you are going to put on low tax and corporatism. Those are the only two policies you can change now to make your life easier. Which means your land usage should probably drop, otherwise you'll be in negative land. This goes the same for colonialists, like myself. We have to go to corporatist. Same with Marxists. So, to make it less painful for yourself, I would highly recommend you do it now because you'll end up soft-locked otherwise. And if you're soft-locked, the only thing I'll do is demolish every single processor to unsoft-lock yourself. So I'd recommend you go corporatist ahead of time. Preferably as soon as this video goes up. If you're soft-locked, expect me to actually just start demolishing everything, because I'm not saving you by meticulous help. That is your very, very clear warning. I will not help you beyond demolishing everything recklessly. So if you're unable to do that, just be aware of the consequences. So I'd recommend you get to it every time. From my memory, colonialism is the first policy you unlock after corporatism. So if you're a colonialist, it won't be that long. It does mean you'll have to demolish some corporations though. I apologize. Of course. Generally the same for everyone. It's not going to be an easy transition, but it will be good for the entire player base because we have a low conversion rate. We want a high conversion rate. We want more people to enjoy our game, like you do. So normally I would end this on a funny note, but this is more just an informative video, and as you can see, unlike the Deco interview, my face tracking works. Wink. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Again, apologies if anything seems off. Obviously, if you need assistance, we have a help channel, or you can just ask me in general, because I'm, usually hanging out. Coolio. Bye!